Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 15th, 2024. Hopefully, this also finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing all right. But happy Friday to ya. Hopefully, the vibes are nice and tight and right for you. Um, if this episode doesn't find you on a Friday, hopefully it still carries and catches you and there's some wind in your sails and things will feel like, hey, like the weekend's just coming up. You know what I mean? But yeah, as for me, I would just say, all right. Today was just not my day on a week that was just kind of not my week when I really look back at it. I really want to try to be positive. But yeah, just not one for the history books in terms of a good one. I'll spare you all the details for today on most of it, but it was just uphill and, more drama than maybe needed to be for me, just, off work stuff. But, we move and, I want to say this is something that's really, important to me that sometimes I can talk myself into situations that are not fun as a human being. I mean, I think that's very normal in its own way. Maybe I do it more so than the average bear, but it happens. But I will say that something I love is that the people in my life, my close circle of people, and sometimes every once in a while, people surprise me in positive ways as well, where they come in and they can really brighten up my day and, give me insight that I'm looking for and, really help me out. And I hate that because maybe it's pride or, just the understanding of you shouldn't use your friends as therapy and stuff like that. I just hate it in that regard. But I also understand that no, friends and your family, the people who you're really close to are people you're supposed to lean on. And, I guess there's a lot of times where, I can fuck up just being a 34-year-old dude by himself. But I also know that it's hey, I'm not always alone. And I am glad that I have people to talk to and sort out my problems and say, man, this is rough. This is hard. Can I be 100% real with you? I really appreciate having people like that in my corner and that I don't feel like a burden to them. So that's sick. And I know some of them are listening right now. So thank you. Hi, I love you. I know, and if you're not one of those, plug your ears for that, or just forget I ever said anything. But yeah, we move. I'm in a good mood right now talking to y'all. So I'm going to take that. Also, I did I don't want to say I did a banger at the gym, but it felt good. I stayed too long. I don't know. Planet Fitness is becoming my hollow bastion, dude. I don't know. But it was just fun in a way to just and I had this thought. It's man, it's at the age of 34, I'm finally learning to enjoy PE class. That's crazy. That's so crazy of me. Because don't get me wrong, back in PE, back in my gym days, I loved the idea of doing the fun stuff like roller hockey or whatever, where you had the little butt scooters and you would play hockey and stuff like that. I loved dodgeball. I loved any of the fun activities you'd play with your friends that weren't basketball or something like that, which you really didn't play. You could do that on recess. And I didn't love any kind of running or rope because I've never climbed a rope. Excuse me. I literally failed that. That was the worst for me. My little piggy ass. But that being said, I did actually enjoy gym. I just hated getting sweaty and then having to go back to class. I never got lucky. I know I'm not supposed to be blogging right now, but fuck it, let's blog. I would go to gym and I would always be man, I wish that next year I won't have to do gym in the middle of the day or the top of the day because you're gonna be sweaty and gross all day. But I never got lucky. I never got it. So I never got the golden gym period for any of my years. Woe is me, tiniest violin. But overall, I did enjoy most of my gym days. And when I really think about it, I just would never be high effort if it wasn't a fun game. You know what I mean? So there you go. I'm done talking about gym now. I don't know why we got on that tangent, but why not? It's the newsstand, baby. That's what we do. But yeah, let's go ahead and do a food corner. Oh shit, I forgot. I forgot. I did eat food. hamburger, 2 hot dogs, fries. Important stipulation here: curly fries, and then I sprinkled some crinkle cut fries in there because I don't know. I just felt like doing that. You know what I mean? So yeah, overall, it was good. It was yummy. It was the usual. But yeah, it went down good. Let's see. Also, shout out to the Snickers bar that I ate and the monster that I drank. Oh no, it wasn't a monster. It was a Nos. Definitely, it was a Nos. I forgot. I did this thing, and my morning ritual, as I'm heading out, is I, put on my tunes, which is the BBC, British, global podcast, whatever the fuck, and then I grab my snacky, which is the chip, the Nos, and then I head on out. I forgot it on the kitchen counter. Like I just grabbed it and set it, and then was like, oh, I don't have my BBC on right now, and then I forgot it, and I was so salty when I got to work. But yeah, actually, in closing out, because I know I've talked about this a few times, probably a few times too many. But once again, I'm giving myself my attaboys, pepping myself up. We've been able to park in the parking spot, the reserved parking spot. How did it feel? It felt good. It feels good. I hate it because like I know I'm supposed to be like 10 years, I can't believe I'm not going anywhere with my life, I can't believe I'm not doing anything, but like no, I really did it. I did it so hard that like I didn't even think about it. I like the thing that like the fucking villains say on the SVU thing is like, I could do 5 years on my head. Like that's crazy shit to say, and then you're like, actually you're gonna go for 25 to life, and it's like, damn, Tutuola. That was a terrible Tutuola impression, but like, it's crazy to me that I've done this amount of time, and like I don't feel bad about it. Like I've told you guys bad days at work. I mean, I'm talking about peak right now, but I accept it. Like it's not a crazy notion to me that work is just gonna have hard times and hard days. Like I get it. That's such is life, and like there's a certain kind of rhythm and rhyme to all this bullshit, right? So I will always have a bit of animosity towards my non-union job, but it is a job, and I do appreciate having it, to the powers that be, or whatever, a sweat of my own brow, what have you. I'm glad that I'm here, and I did it for 10 years. So yeah, that's just something I guess I wanted to leave a little cherry on top of that shit Sunday I've been spewing out there. I think y'all know this is gonna be a long episode. I'm not even, So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup. Let's get right. Let's get ready. Let's talk about the hard shit. Let's talk about that rough shit. Oh yeah. But first, let's do our startup. Yeah. Did I say that? I don't know. Okay. Ooh. From CNN. 15 killed in Israeli strikes on Damascus, Syrian state media say. 15 people were killed and 16 others injured in Israeli strikes on Damascus and Syria, state media SANA said, citing a military source and marking one of the deadliest strikes in months to hit Syria, the Syrian capital. The strikes targeted several residential buildings in the upscale Meza neighborhood in the capital of Qudsaya. I'm sure I'm getting that wrong. Area in the Damascus countryside. Syrian state media reported. Among those killed were women and children. Syrian state media added. The Israeli military said in a statement it was striking Islamic Jihad in Syria earlier Thursday and had inflicted significant damage to the terrorist organization's command center and to its operatives. Islamic Jihad is the second largest military group in Gaza. Syrian state media said the Israeli enemy launched an aerial attack from the direction of the occupied Syrian Golan, targeting several residential buildings in the Meza neighborhood of Damascus and the Qudsaya area in the Damascus countryside. Um, let's see. I do think I am just going. Oh no, there was another thing that also happened as well. The statement outlined the attacks on Syria came just 2 days after the Arab Islamic Summit in Riyadh issued a broad condemnation of Israel's brutal and escalating aggression on Syrian territory. The latest assault comes after Israeli airstrikes intensified in Syria over the weekend, killing at least 7 civilians and leaving 20 injured, according to Syrian state news agency. So, I mean, just once again, I try to bring up any kind of updates that are happening in this area. Obviously, there's a lot in Gaza. There's a lot in Lebanon, but also in Syria as well. So, I definitely think it's important to, try to track that and talk about that to the best of my ability. Obviously you're seeing and hearing the same script. So, with that comes my same animosity towards it. I really don't want to keep hammering the same points, belaboring it. But I did want to talk about a new thing, an update. I know that Twitch is more of a me thing. None of the audience that I know comes here really gives a shit about Twitch. And that's fine. That's okay. It's not important. But there are times where I see what's happening on Twitch, or let's say insert any kind of social media app thing. And if they are doing something that is relevant to me that I think is worth talking about, then I want to make time for that, because it's that's my I don't want to say it's my bread and butter. I'm an expert on it or anything. No, but I mean it's my bread and butter in the sense of that is what I consume as an individual. So it's very important to me what goes on, what the ecosystem, environment, whatever it is, because truly, I thought about this week, and I actually canceled my fucking Netflix subscription. And I know you're crazy. On the week that they're gonna do the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, oh my gosh, and Arcane is out, and shit, but I really realized I've had the account since 2011. I've gone up through all the price hikes and all that, and I've watched a decent amount of TV, but I really realized that I'm just a live content guy. I came onto the internet late, and so there's just some kind of appeal and allure to just watching live streams. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I literally have a live stream on right now on mute, while I do my podcast. It's my Subway Surfers. It just calms me. It steadies me in a certain kind of way. I cannot explain it, but I like it. It's also it's where I really understood how jocks worked, because I was oh, I like my little game here, and I keep watching people play it all the time, and I care about all these players. Oh, this is how you become a sports nerd. I had to work it backwards as just a nerd. You know what I'm saying? So I say all this bullshit to just be yeah, Twitch is an important space to me. So that's why I do feel compelled to talk about it every once in a goddamn while. And this felt relevant because it literally is segueing from what we just talked about. From NBC News, Twitch changes its hateful content policy to include Zionist as potential slur following criticism. Twitch has revised its hateful content policy to include Zionist as a potential slur, following mounting criticism over Israel-Gaza war content on the platform. The platform announced the change in a blog post Friday, writing that using the term Zionist to attack or demean another individual or group of people on the bias of their background or religious belief is against our rules. The platform said that as a part of its policy, it prohibits the use of the terms that may not be that may not be harmful or abusive in isolation, but can be used as a slur to denigrate others in certain context. The term Zionism is often associated with a political movement that has begun in the 19th century, prior to the founding of Israel, to create a nation state for the Jewish people. Now, longtime listeners know Zionism is something I've referenced. Obviously I'm not doing deep historical dives here. I am not trying to always keep you here for an hour or whatever, you know what I mean? But in this situation, they're saying, hey, trying to frame Zionism, at least at first blush when I read the headline and before I kind of dug a little bit further, I was really worried that they're saying, hey, if you say Zionist here, we're not gonna let you say that because it's harmful. You're essentially trying to do anti-Semitism like on the sly or indirectly. I do like that they are at least saying, hey, which I'll go ahead and read further. We recognize that Zionist and Zionism also refer to a political movement. Twitch wrote in its blog post, using the term to refer to the political movement, whether in a supportive or critical way, does not violate our hateful conduct policy. Our goal isn't to stifle conversation about criticism of an institution or ideology, but to prevent coded hate directed at individuals and groups of people. So I'm like, okay, this stipulation is very important. And that does kind of balance the conversation out, because I would definitely agree you shouldn't use some kind of coded speech to be anti-Semitic. I agree with that. But I also don't want to see the situation, which I do fear, that you're going to put people who are trying to talk about this situation on a tightrope where it's like, hey, I'm trying to literally illustrate my point here and say, hey, I'm not talking about the Jewish people as a whole here. I'm talking about how Zionism is bad. And people saying, well, you're being offensive. You're trying to actually be anti-Semitic. And that is a narrative that has been pushed against, streamers. And, it's not just something that's on Twitch. I found out that this is something that Meta has already done. Let's see here. Twitch is the latest social media platform to attempt to draw lines around acceptable speech related to the Israel-Hamas conflict. In July, Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, enacted a similar policy, changing its rules to restrict the use of the word Zionist, saying the term had become a proxy for hate speech against Jews, which is a more elegant way of what I'm trying to say here. Which is something you need to, obviously avoid. That's not something you want. You do not want to fuel hate. Like, when I'm talking about this shit, I am upset. I am upset at atrocities that are happening right before my eyes, that are being funded by people who are our allies, and that are being funded by people who are like us. We're supporting, we're giving them the ammunition to do that kind of stuff. And we live, as part of our freedom of speech and expression and all that shit, we should be able to criticize that. We should be able to talk about that. But you also should not be using this as an avenue to spread any kind of hate of any kind. That's not the point. That's not the purpose. And you don't want that injected to any kind of movement or discussion, period. But it is frustrating to see literal lawmakers like Richie Torres be like, oh, I'm going to target someone like Hassan because I'm saying he's being anti-Semitic and he's just getting away with it. And he can't keep getting away with it. Like that's crazy. When we are literally watching, this is a guy who's like, dude, you're in Brooklyn. We get it. You have a Jewish, group of people in your constituency, but this is way out of your range. Why are you doing this? And you go, oh, well, he's being backed heavily by the Anti-Defamation League, I believe the ACLU, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might just be the ACLU. I might be getting a little twisted and tangled up here. But, I mean, it's essentially okay, whose interests are you backing? Your constituents or, this group of people who's just, flooding the zone here with money, which is something we have talked about. And that's also something where, once again, this is me being critical of the actions, the political actions that you are doing as an organization. Not, once again, Jewish people as a whole. It's crazy that you do have to kind of make these kind of separations in the sand loudly, once again saying the whole thing of hey, I hate terrorism. Terrorism is bad. But also, you just shouldn't be able to kill people willy-nilly, because, hey, we think some terrorists are around here. But once again, that's been standard operating procedure since before I've been doing this shit, since before I was goddamn born. That's for goddamn sure. And it's not just Israel. It's any of these Western countries. They just get to justify this kind of shit. But yeah, if it's not our ally, if it's not someone we like, then it's damn, that's really fucked up. I can't believe you would do that atrocity, that war crime. I can't believe you would move like that. That's crazy. How barbaric. But once again, if it's us or our allies, oh man, I mean, I guess that's just how life works. I guess that's just a part of life and death and war. And, no atrocities, no war crimes here. No, you just don't be crazy. But yeah, I mean, I don't like seeing this as a person who is technically in this, situation in terms of talking about these kind of, issues and things. The fear is that it's going to spread to something like YouTube. It's going to spread to something like Spotify. and that becomes a thing. But once again, I have much of a fear of it? No, because once again, my goal here is to talk about these things. It is my perspective on this shit. It is how I feel about this shit. But once again, I am not here to spread any kind of fucking hate or advocate any kind of violence. That's not the purpose. That's not it at all. So, I feel confident. I feel strong and secure in that. And, it is what it is. But you do hate to see people kind of weaponize the change in these kind of policies to be like, yeah, no, we're just going to get you out of here because you're saying something we don't like. And boo, you're being anti-Semitic. So, I felt like it was relevant to talk about it because once again, I root for the people who are really out here talking the shit. And I'd be remiss to not mention Hassan Piker. I know I don't plug him enough, but, definitely go check out Hassanabi. He's talking about shit like this and more and in a way better way than I ever fucking could. And, it's a shame that for doing stuff like that, him and streamers like that, I mean, it's also, they mentioned too, how much of like a relevant political platform, like you literally had Bernie Sanders and AOC and Tim Walz all on this platform at some point in some fashion, talking, playing games, interacting with people. I think it's relevant. I mean, shit, we had Donald Trump and Aiden Ross on this platform. Like, Twitch is a relevant place to reach peoples and get eyeballs and shit on you. And, it just makes sense that makes the arena kind of change in terms of the marketplace of ideals and all that shit. But yeah, okay, I said my fucking 10 cents on that shit. Let's go ahead and move along. Let's see here. Oh, okay. I think from here on out, we're done talking about some serious shit. I wanted to get back to, I don't want to say lighter news, because this is some crime. This is some crime shit, and it's some scamming. It's some heisting technically. But really, we're talking about the RazzleCon, and we're talking about the man behind the RazzleCon, I should say. And this feels good for me to talk about this. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun. From the Associated Press, man who stole and laundered roughly $1 billion in Bitcoin is sentenced to 5 years in prison. A computer expert who stole Bitcoin worth billions of dollars at current prices and then spent years laundering some of the hacked cryptocurrency with help from his friends, was sentenced on Thursday to 5 years in prison. Ooh, excuse me. Ilya Lichtenstein masterminded one of the largest ever thefts of a virtual currency exchange before he and his wife, Heather Rhiannon Morgan, carried out an elaborate scheme to liquidate the stolen funds, according to federal prosecutors. And if you're not familiar with the name Heather Rhiannon Morgan, that's fine. I do not remember her as that. I do not call her by her birth name. She is the RazzleCon. She is the one, the only RazzleCon. And I implore you, if you have not heard the name before or seen any of her content, her music videos, just take a gander at a couple. She's something. She's a phenomena. But yeah, let's continue. I blanked out just thinking about it. U.S. District Judge Colleen Kohler-Cotley told Lichtenstein that his theft was meticulously planned and not an impulsive act. It's important to send the message that you can't commit these crimes with impunity. There are consequences to them. Lichtenstein, who gets credit for the 2 years and 9 months served that he has already spent in jail since his February 2022 arrest, expressed remorse for wasting my talents on crime instead of a positive contribution to society. He says he hopes that he can apply his expertise to fight cybercrime when he gets out of prison. And I want to take a pause here because this was something that really stuck in my craw for a second, because it's a grim reminder of the difference between white collar crimes that happen and, at least in this country, white collar crimes that happen, and then the other crimes, the lesser crimes. And like how it's like, hey, for someone like Lichtenstein here, he pulled off this crazy fucking caper. He pulled out literally at the point of, him doing the heist, millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And now it's worth billions of dollars. He is going to get 5 years for this amount of money that he's taken. Like, this literally affected the economy type shit, like, at least through Bitcoin or whatever. Like, it affected that environment, and that has ripple effects. he gets 5 years for that. But let's say you're in, and sure, maybe you can accuse me of making false equivalencies here, whatever. But like, you could take some kind of criminal drug kingpin or whatever, and he makes millions and billions of dollars, and it's like, not even billions of dollars. That never even happens in any of these. It's like, what am I saying? But like millions of dollars at least in this fantasy, and it's like, yeah, we should like have this guy in maximum security prison forever and ever and always. And it's like, it bums me out. Or even take it down and you just say it's a person who made a lot of money selling, cocaine, crack, whatever. And it's like, yeah, man, this man is never allowed to really work or have like it's going to be a harder way to get, out of this situation once you get out of jail, as opposed to someone like Lichtenstein, who, once again, made a crazy Ocean's 11 style fucking caper, at least digitally, for some Bitcoin. And, more or less, it's like him and his old lady are going to be like, be smart. And also, it's worth pointing that the Razzle Khan will be sentenced Monday. So we'll probably be talking about this maybe Tuesday or so. Just, be on the lookout for the future. We'll be talking about this some more. I want to backtrack a little bit here. Here we go. Yeah, we'll read more. Ilya Lichtenstein masterminded one of the largest ever theft. Did I just read that? I'm sorry, y'all. I did. I'm sloppy. The judge is scheduled to sentence Morgan on Monday. Lichtenstein pleaded with the judge to spare his wife from prison, blaming himself for her involvement. Which I gotta say, that's kind of cute that he really is standing by his boo. He's not throwing her under the water. He's not being cutthroat about it. Like, at the end of the day, he was the actual hacker, so essentially he was the brawn in the operation, and he gets the money. In August of 2016, Liechtenstein hacked into a virtual currency exchange, Hong Kong-based Bitfinex, and stole approximately 120,000 Bitcoin. It was worth approximately $71 million at the time of the hack and would be valued at more than $7.6 billion at current market prices, according to prosecutors. Several months later, Liechtenstein began moving the stolen Bitcoin in a string of complex transactions designed to conceal its path across a series of accounts and platforms. He enlisted his wife's help in cleaning the stolen funds. So that's where Razzle Khan comes in. That's where Morgan comes in. And essentially, he needs her help to a point to help clean this money, so to speak. And in doing so, they kind of, well, I say they, but really it's Morgan who goes, you know what? We're kind of fucking badasses. And she decides that she is going to adopt the moniker Razzle Khan. And she decides that she's going to rap and make music videos and like really say how much she's the shit. She's so gangster with it, with her fucking crime. And like, it's like, girl, you don't Instagram your crimes. Like, don't do this. Like, you're making a big mistake, girly. You don't have to flex like this. Like, you're making $1 million moves, please. And like, she's like, nah. And I guess maybe she just thought that like, we're so clean with it. We really couldn't get caught. But it's like, baby girl, the money is so much. It's so big. They have to get it back. This is, you're not fucking with some small mom and pop motherfuckers here. Like, no, this is government level problems. So like, yeah, law enforcement was on your ass. And to be rapping about it, like, I don't know. There's a part of me that really thinks that, I got my speculation hat on here, but like, I think that they would have found her whether or not she stays quiet about this shit. Because I've just covered it, or not covered. I've listened to enough, stories and stuff like that, at least from my dark net diary situations, listen to that podcast. It's real good. But like, motherfuckers like this, you're never 100%. And even if you are like 100%, you do the perfect crime with this shit, they will probably be able to find you. They'll be probably, even if it's Bitcoin, it's untrackable, blah, 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 especially if you throw it through the tumbler, this and that and the third. Okay, but they're gonna fucking keep their eye on these wallets. They're gonna look for any kind of motion, any kind of movement. It's so hard to beat this shit. You really are playing against the house when you're playing these capers. So, and on top of it, you decided that you're gonna rap about your crimes. But once again, Hila was really trying to move in silence. Like, he was just trying to be cool. Like, I got the picture of them all booed up and shit, but like, he was just the hubby. He was just on the computer, like, yeah, hey, what's up, So I don't know. It's crazy how they got done up. Like I said, there will be more. I know I just kind of went on a whole rant. You can get the whole details of the story from the article. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to some more stories from ABC7 KRCR. California men use bear costume to pull off bizarre insurance fraud plot. Shout out to the homie Christina. She hit me up with this story, and I was just so like in. I was like, thank you for this, Jim. It's such a banger. And then also, as she sent me that story, I was like listening to it on Start Here, and I was like, damn, dude, I was late by like, if I just got the story a day. And I know it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know why I even think about these kind of things. Or like, well, I told it before this major thing did, but it does feel good, no? Like, it feels good to be on the beat when you're supposed to be on the beat, If you know, you know. I don't know. But anyway, this was a bear of a tale. At least so we thought. Actually, I'm gonna take a water break. All right. 4 Los Angeles men have been charged with fraud after claiming a bear caused damage to their luxury vehicles, but they were actually using a bear costume to fake the attacks for insurance payouts. According to the Department of Insurance, or the DOI, 26-year-old Ruben Tamarazan, 39-year-old Ariat Chikinian, sure, 32-year-old Vahe Mudarakanyan, and 39-year-old Althea Zuckerman have been charged with insurance fraud and conspiracy after their bear video came to light as nothing more than a grisly attempt at fraud. Bars. We love a good pun. California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara said the DOI began investigating the alleged bear attack after an insurance company suspected fraud. The foreman told the insurance company that on January 28, 2024, in Lake Arrowhead, a bear had entered their 2010 Rolls-Royce Ghost and caused interior damage to the vehicle. Now, I want to stop right there. This was one of the times where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop and actually click the vid and see what this actually looks like. Really do the full regalia on my research here. And I got to say, shout out to either the law enforcement who cuts this video or KRCR who like puts the music on. But like, they have this like eerie ass music, and like, it's like this black and white, and you see the ghost Rolls Royce, and the bear, put that in quotations, hops, like opens the door, by the way. And don't get me wrong, like I've heard stories of bears finding a way to like do the cat trick where they like open up a person's door and then like maul the person or whatever. I mean, that's crazy shit. Okay, cool. Well, not cool, but like fascinating. But like, no, the bear opens the door in a way, and then you see more videos to this effect as well, where it's like, no, but the bear is not gonna open a door this way, and also do there's too much movement, if you know what I'm saying, to really say this is a bear. But let's continue, because I look at it, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I see the bear ruffling around, and it's a trick on my eye. I'll confess, I have all these takes and opinions, but on camera, first blush, I'm not going to lie. I'd be like, okay, it looks like a bear to me. But no, people were very suspicious. And they got more experts involved to like check in on this fraud. I think they even got like an actual wildlife person The DOI hired a biologist to confirm that no real bear was present during the incident. The biologist from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife confirmed with the DOI that it was clearly a human in a bear suit after reviewing the footage. So I once again going back. Also, I want to list the cars too. There was a Ghost Rolls Royce. There was the 2015 Mercedes G63 AMG and a 2022 Mercedes E350. Now, once again, back to the bear, because this is happening in each one of these now. And it especially is like more telling when there's situations where like there's like a better light and they're not doing the black and white on the camera, but like the bear is just doing movements that do not make sense for a bear to do. And then this is where even my dumbass goes, no. Something is sus. Something is sus. Something is suspicious. It's not adding up here. Because one, they say the thing of like, there's just no bear here. There's no literal DNA that matches a bear. So there's already that issue. CSI's already saying, hey, something's wrong. But when you look at the scratches are too manicured. It literally looks like there was a comb. And then you also realize like a bear would do more damage to the car interior. Why? And it's like you can make the logic of like the jump of like, well, maybe there's food in there. That's how the bear gets in. That's why the bear would want to get in. But I already told you up top, the way the bear opens the car door does not make sense. It does not, it's just not anatomically like rational. It's not how a bear moves. It doesn't make sense. It's too human. And then they get in there and it looks like they're just like dry humping the car. And it's like literally them scratching as hard as they can. And it just looks like the weakest fucking comb scratches. And then you see the suit. And then it just like, I mean, everything just locks together. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, this was a really funny little cute scam, a little cute fraud. They tried to get away with it, but they did not. The insurance companies were defrauded $141,839 because of the alleged fraud committed by the suspects. Department detectives were assisted by the Glendale Police Department and the California Highway Patrol. The San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office is prosecuting the case, said Laura. So yeah, we'll leave that there. Okay. We have one more story, and we're going back to South Carolina, and it's not for the monkeys this time, but things are getting feral. Let's take our last break. All right. From CBS News. Feral and not trained. Emus Thelma and Louise on the loose in South Carolina as state's monkey search continues. So yeah, we're not really talking about the rhesus monkeys. I haven't heard much of an update. There's not really any update that we haven't talked about in this article to, my knowledge, unless they update it. But two more animals are on the loose in South Carolina as the state continues its search for fugitive monkeys that escaped from the medical research facility in Beaufort County. But this time it's two emus named Thelma and Louise that escaped about a 3-hour drive north. The Horry County Police Department wrote about the large missing birds saying, "We are not emused." Dude, the puns are on fire tonight. Love that. I love that from these articles. I love these. Even the police department has a sense of humor tonight. That's great. The department is aware of the reported emus, and we have made contact with the owner. We are working to aid the owner in the effort to locate and capture the animals, the Facebook post says. There's no risk to the community associated with the emus at this time, though we have mentioned that they are feral. But, I'm adding that last part there. Let's see here. Sam Morris, the owner of the birds, told CBS News on Friday that the emus are named Thelma and Louise and that they have yet to be captured. They decided that they wanted to hop the fence when we were going to grab one of them and move her to another paddock. And well, she didn't like that, she said in a message. So she's living the wildlife. Well, both of them are. So, I mean, I'm really hoping that this doesn't have the outcome like the movie Thelma and Louise. So, we're not gonna do any spoilers there. Look it up, or if the old heads they know, they know. But yeah, these lovebirds, they decided no, we're not gonna split up. No, never, ever. Um, they are feral and not trained like the ones we have at the house, Morris said, which means they have more emus. Local law enforcement has already been at my house. We are trying to get a tranquilizer approved so we can bring them home. Thank you for all the concerns and questions, but if the emus were that easy to catch, they would be home already. They do a breakdown of the birds, little, their bio or whatever. Excuse me. Now, here's where we're talking about the herding dogs, or like saying, hey, maybe we can get some dogs to help out. But Morris said that one of the emus had been attacked by 3 wild dogs before, and that the bird managed to kill them before they could kill it. So this is why I'm kind of surprised that the cops are being chill here. The law enforcement's like, hey, there's no need to worry. But like, I've already mentioned the word feral. We now have the story of like, hey, if they are put in a situation where you make them, one of these emus will kill. It might not be Thelma. It might be Louise. I don't know. But that's kind of scary. Like this, it's really making me wonder now. Is South Carolina like a safari PvE zone or something? Like is it becoming like, I mean, maybe it always has been like a little Florida, dare I say it? Maybe the South Carolina man needs to rise up and I don't want to say slay any dragons or anything. Obviously, I'm rooting for these emus. I'm rooting for the monkeys. I'm rooting for the monkeys, okay? I want them all to be safe and home, secured, safe and sound. We're safe and sound. Anyway, but I mean, this was a new story that I felt, I had to tell. And we'll leave it at that for today. Let's see. I know I went long. I know I did. I did. I see the time. Look at it go. Tick tock. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, patreon.com/ZaneNews. Become a newsie today. It really warms my heart when y'all take it to that financial level, that fiscal level. It really means a lot, especially my longtime guys and gals. I mean, even if you've just done it once, you know what I mean? I don't give the shout out to the newsies that just say, hey, here you go, boom, boom. And then next month I'm gone. And that's okay. I remember you, the body keeps a score, positive. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you. And I do give you the shout out at the top of the month. Also, a couple of old archived not videos, but like, episodes that were like either practiced or, sometimes I haven't gone recently into that zone. I feel more confident nowadays, surprisingly. But, every once in a while, it's like almost like, hey, these are the training zone episodes, if you will. Yeah, the before we were really talking about Diddy, there were some of that, there were like 1 or 2 episodes like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, feel free to hit me up at xander's1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me on the podcast on any of the socials. Hit me up if you're actually into Blue Sky. Give me a reason. If a newsie tells me they're fucking with Blue Sky, I'll actually dust off the count and see what's happening. I'll see what's shaking. Let's see here. YouTube, hit the like button. Leave a subscription. Yeah, hit that subscription button. Do that. That means a lot. That's very helpful for free. Leaving a cool comment is nice for the algorithm. Just listening sometimes on the YouTube is cool. But I mean, hey, it doesn't matter if you're listening on whatever platform. It's cool. There's no pressure, no worries. I'm really happy you listened. It's crazy if you've listened to 43 minutes of me talking. That's insane. I think you're diabolical in a crazy cool way. Oh, that's what I was going to mention at the very end. Since you've tuned in this time, go ahead and do the survey, the poll in the last episode. Are you a ciabatta boy? Or are you a French baguette baron? Let me know. Tell me what's the vibe. Actually, I really should flip it because I said I was Panera baguette boy. Yeah, but I think I'm pro ciabatta. I'm spreading propaganda on the ciabatta, bro. It's good. Anyway, that'll be it for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye bye. Mwah.